Hello, we have now Mr. Bيتر Showman, a retired UN officer, and he's now participating in the Harrisburg Sudan Focal Point Forum here in Harrisburg. We want to ask him some questions about what he had, some of the issues that he addressed on his presence in the podium there. The first thing we want to ask you is, as you have a very long experience in United Nations, working in the United Nations, do you think the international community tend to deal with this with the problem as a humanitarian problems rather than talking to the root of the political issues, which makes the problems? I mean, it doesn't solve the problems seriously.
Well, you know, the United Nations always operates on the basis of a decision of the United Nations Security Council. That's sort of the highest political body. And the Security Council has dealt with the crisis in Darfur without any interruption, I think, since 2003. So there's a long engagement. The Council was for a certain time politically engaged, but I think at the moment it's much more with humanitarian issues. And of course they continue to advocate the political process between the government and the different opposition rebel groups. But there's very little progress. So the Security Council has renewed the mandate. They have a few years ago also reduced the size of UNAMID. But the political engagement has been reduced.
Well, if you think of it, I know what you mean, but if you think of it, it's more costly to just try to sort out the humanitarian problems than to try to talk to the more in depth to the root of the problems. So if the international community put more pressure on these governments, it will sort it out in less cost. I mean, if you look at the Darfurian issues now, it costs the international community a lot of money.
I think it's not the issue of how much money it costs. Humanitarian operations are very expensive. Political processes require political capital. So it's a different currency you're dealing with. But you know, it requires the agreement and willingness of all parties, not just the government, but all parties concerned, to say, okay, we are now determined for a political solution. And we are going through this with all the ups and downs, but we are not favoring anymore the military option, which also includes regime change through democratic political means and not through the barrel of a Kalashnikov. No? But this is all known. I mean, this discussion has been going on for years and years and years. What I criticize is that there is sort of a complacency that all sides, including the Security Council and the key member states, seem to be sort of, they have resigned to the situation, and it's sort of just going on and on and on and on. No? And I think this prolongs the conflict unnecessarily. I firmly believe that a political solution is possible, but with so many different actors, also internationally, regionally, playing around, all have their own sort of idea, I think it's politically irresponsible.
Okay, the last question is, you mentioned there in the podium that you suggest, or the only solution is to open a blank page, a new page. But if you look at it through this situation, what do you mean exactly by blank page? What about the pages before? How are we going to sort this out?
It's very difficult to say we forget about. I did not say we should forget about, but I think we should really sit back and say, have we evaluated all options possible? I see too much repetition, the Darfur dialogue, the Doha agreements, the Abuja, all these agreements, complex documents, but now we should sort of realize this is not the way, it's not the document, but we have a Darfur transitional administration, so let's see what we can do with them. Let's push them, if necessary, to the limit. The key issue is improve the conditions of living, and this includes safety and security of all the people in Darfur. Nothing else. And this is a new page. To achieve this, you have to open a new page and say, okay, we are willing to compromise for the sake of the people in Darfur.
Thank you, Mr. Peter Shimon. Thank you.